All right, another Celtics draft scouting report. We looked at Danny Wolf last time. We're going to switch to a guard this time and look at Florida's Walter Clayton Jr., one of the best shooters in the class, one of the older players in the class as well. But we're going to take a look and see whether or not we think the Celtics should draft him. He finished up his collegiate career with Florida, winning a national championship there. Obviously, Al Horford spoke highly of him after the game. Said maybe he'll be playing with us next year. This was his fourth collegiate season. He spent 2 at Iona, then transferred, went to Florida for 2 seasons as well. Wrapped up averaging 18.3 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 4.2 assists while shooting 45 from the field and 38.6 from 3 on almost 8 attempts a game. So Walter Clayton is who we're looking at today.
Yeah, and you've probably heard of him because he was, 1, on the national championship team, 2, very good in the NCAA tournament when everybody was watching. So it's a name that, again, you're probably familiar with. He has a crazy three-point shot. He's somebody that, if you think about Missoula ball, you can kind of talk yourself into the fit. You can kind of see a Peyton Pritchard mold. We'll take a look at some of the highlights. It's going to be a fun app. That's for sure.
Indeed. Okay, let me pull up the No Ceilings video because they do the beautiful job of including all the stats on the front page screen. We love our friends at No Ceilings, so thank you very much to those guys. Let me change the background on the YouTube so we can watch the highlights effectively. And let's check this out. So Walter Clayton Jr. season highlights right here. Yes, 18.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1.2 steals, 45-39 shooting splits. These are as of April 7th, his stats. And thank you again to No Ceilings for the great graphics we've got. So we'll start off with some scoring highlights and then move into some playmaking and some defense, etc. We're going to see a lot of jump shots, excuse me, with Walter Clayton. And he is not afraid to pull up from a long ways behind the three-point arc.
Good at moving without the ball, too. It's kind of important, especially considering what the Celtics are going to ask him to do. But the pull-ups are crazy. The confidence is crazy. The confidence is the thing that you can kind of talk yourself into him being an NBA-ready type guy because when the moment, showing up big in not only the NCAA tournament but the SEC tournament, 2 of the biggest stages he could play on with Florida, says a lot about him as a player.
Now, obviously, we're going to check out Sleeper's Media's best and worst case, who they think he's like, all that stuff. I don't want to get flack for this. I've only seen a few highlights. Obviously, he's got more athleticism than the guy I'm about to say. I don't know if it's the exact same. You worry if you toe the line between Peyton Pritchard and Carson Edwards here. Like, I feel like that is the concern, right? Peyton
Fair.
Pritchard obviously has turned into a phenomenal NBA player because of his ridiculous efficiency while also being able to play a little bit of defense. Carson Edwards was never that efficient. He was a very streaky shooter. And he was not a good defender because of how small he was. You can see the pathways for Walter Clayton becoming both of those guys. I forget how much time Carson Edwards spent in college, but I think he also spent at least a couple of years at Purdue. I don't think he was a one and done, if I remember correctly, but I could be very wrong. Actually, look it up right now. But that's my biggest concern because when you take a guy like this, you dream of the Peyton Pritchards of the world. But you have to understand, like, you could also get the not Peyton Pritchards of the world, like Carson Edwards of the world. He spent 3 seasons at Purdue, yeah. So,
I
don't know.
The Carson Edwards fear is very real. I think that's a good comp too. Watching these highlights will make you think of the 28-point game Carson Edwards had against the Cavs in the preseason in 2019, I think it was, when he just went ballistic. We all thought he was going to be this big thing for the Celtics, and it never really panned out. It kind of matters about the opportunity that he would get with Boston. I think this is a decent year to have that opportunity, considering that Drew Holiday might get traded this summer and the guard rotation without Holiday would look like probably Peyton and Derek starting and then J.D. Davison as your only bench rotation guy. Having an extra body would be helpful.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm pretty sure one of the seasons where Carson Edwards was here was an opportunity-rich season, and he wasn't really able to make the most of it. So it's all yet to be seen.
It's true. Also, for what it's worth, Walter Clayton measured at 6'2" without shoes. So he is significantly bigger than Carson Edwards. Carson Edwards, who was listed at 5'11", on all of his basketball pages. What year is Pritchard drafted? I want to see what he came in at the combine, if he did the combine. I forget. Why am I blanking? Was he the 2021 draft class?
2020. And then
Okay,
he
yeah.
debuted in the empty arena season.
Yeah, okay. So I don't have his measurements then. That's okay. It doesn't show up here. All right. Yes. We've got scoring. Let's take a look at some playmaking highlights. For context of this 25-minute video, 14 minutes are filled with scoring highlights. So you can get some thoughts on what his biggest strength is coming into this draft. It is moving without the ball. It is scoring. It is stuff like that. Let's take a look at some playmaking. Because he is a capable playmaker too. You see a nice little pass to his big man inside here out of the pick and roll across the top. I think all guards should be able to run a little bit of pick and roll, feed their guys down low. Like, this is not me saying like, oh, like you should be able to do this anyways. I just think like if you see a guard who can do this, and that was a nice pass right there, like it is a good sign. Like, all right, this guy is a pretty fundamentally sound, a pretty good guard, and you can see that to a degree with Clayton already. He's capable of just like understanding where guys are on the floor. So that's a good sign coming into the league.
Yeah, for sure. And, speaking of the pick and roll or whatever you want to call just the screening that happens in the NBA, as a shooter, that could be one of the best ways for him to get in a rhythm. It's just coming off the screen, being open. I don't know how many screen sets the Celtics will run for a guy like Walter Clayton if they were to draft him, but having that in the bag is important. Being able to find your open teammate if you get blitzed is important. Not panicking in the double team is important. And we're seeing a lot of that calmness when those doubles are thrown at him, which I think is a positive thing.
Definitely. I mean, when you play as much as he did in college, I suppose that comes with the territory of understanding, how to stay calm, how to be ready in those moments. We can fast forward and get some other playmaking highlights deeper into the season, etc. Running the break seems pretty good. I think that's Thomas Ha, who could have been in the draft, but decided to stay at Florida, that he just passed to. Finding the corner. He's very comfortable with the ball in his hands, which, again, comes with playing 4 years in college, finding guys in the break. We can watch some defense now, and then we can watch some other highlight tapes as well. So defense is the biggest concern with Walter Clayton. I mean, I've pointed this out, I think, on a pod. Like, the first 2 defensive highlights are him getting a little lost off the ball. Florida being lost off the ball in general, and him just like finding a way to get back into play. The hustle's there, right? Like, I don't think he doesn't try. I just think he gets beat a little too easily, then zones out at times. And then it's
In the Yahoo mock draft, Kevin O'Connor describes him as aloof. Not the best thing to be described as a defender, especially in the NBA.
For sure. And like these blocks he's getting, these aren't Derek White blocks where he's getting, a bunch of feet off the ground. These are like he doesn't have the athleticism to play like Derek White blocks. He has the timing perhaps, and he can get them when he recovers, but he's also recovering from a lot of defensive mistakes that he is making. So it is a bit of a wishy-washy point to where, like, can he truly be a great or even possible defender at the NBA level? Can they get him in a spot where he's not getting beat? Like, you can see there, right? He has the body. Like, this play is a good sign at the very least. Like, watching this play right here, you can say, okay, he has the body to be able to stay in front of guys. And if he can do it consistently, then you can know. And then he has the timing to get up. Like, that's a great sign. It's just, can he do it consistently? Can he not get lost off the ball? Can he not get beat off the dribble? And those are all things where you look at highlights and you're like, I don't really know what, it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to look. You see him follow through well there. I also worry some of these are going to be fouls at the NBA level. Like, he is just fully throwing his body into these guys.
I find a lot of that when I watch these college, like, because all 3 of us, me, Jack, and Bobby Kravitsky, have been doing a lot of draft prep for Hardwood Houdini and writing scouting reports and stuff. And so, like, when you're researching these guys, you watch these tapes, and I'm like, do we think you do that to Jalen Brunson? You're not going to have any free throws given? Like, that kind of thing? It's tough to gauge.
Like this right here, that's going to be a foul. Jalen Brunson's going to draw this foul right here at the NBA level. Like, foul. Jalen Brunson's
the NBA player dives to the ground on that.
I do like the way he moves his feet there. But we can take a look at this other short scouting report. This is 8 minutes. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I'm hoping I can comb through and find some weaknesses and strengths, because it is hard to find weaknesses on YouTube as much because it's just a lot of highlight reels. Insane off the catch, though. Insane shooter off the catch.
Which is a
Let's
huge
take a
strength to
look.
have with this Celtics team because
Yes.
at full strength, thinking about building towards when Tatum comes back, whether that be late in the 26th season or the 26-27 season, surrounding whoever your star is with shooters is one of the most important things to do in the NBA now. The defense is the biggest
These are
question
some
mark. Being able
great
to not
passes
be
too.
like a seal for the other teams
Yes.
is really important. But the catch and shoot is going to be super helpful for him to get real
Mhm.
rotation minutes in Boston, I would say.
Yes. These passes are very impressive too. Like he's throwing some awesome passes here, so I'll give him that credit. He seems like he's a very adept playmaker, or can be. Yeah. Let's see. Are there any weaknesses in here for us to look at? No, it's a lot of like how he can score. He made a lot of deep threes in this season at Florida, which is a good thing for NBA scouts. He's a shooter, right? Like there is no doubting his ability to shoot the basketball, and he is unafraid as a shooter too, which is a very good thing. Um, it's a lot of strengths. I don't know if this video goes over any weaknesses, but we looked at a lot of these highlights in the last one. Solid off the dribble shooter too, which is similar to Pritchard. Um, Capable and willing to shoot from all over the floor.
Oof.
I wonder if there's anything else in this video, or we should just go look at sleepers and what they have to say. Let's take a look at what sleepers have to say. Tough
Perfect.
drive through the rim. Okay, shout out to Sleepers Media. Appreciate these guys. Let me go to some of their stuff. So strengths, scoring, crafty finisher, playmaking, shot creation, champion. Shout out. 3-point shooting, and then weaknesses, defense undersized, playing off the ball. Playing off the ball is interesting because I feel like he looked pretty comfortable moving off the ball. Maybe it's more of a sample size thing because he was on the ball so much at Florida.
I guess you could put that as like a question mark because, I mean, by all accounts, he was the leading scorer for this Gators team that won a national championship. Like, he is a massive, just driving force in what they're trying to do offensively. He's the centerpiece, even though college doesn't really do centerpiece, but you know what I mean.
And then their one word to describe him: underestimated and assassin. I would say those are two pretty good things.
Two
And,
Peyton Pritchard type words, to be honest with you.
yes. Okay, let me find their 5 years in. Okay, so one says starter, one says overseas. So you can see the range of Peyton Pritchard to Carson Edwards pretty plainly here.
Sure.
And then let's take a look at most likely to get drafted by the Lakers because Braun likes him, and then most likely to wish he stayed in college.
I like this. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum with how they feel about. But isn't he a super senior? Like, he can't stay.
No, I think he only was 4 years. So I think technically because of COVID, he would have had next year. So let's take a look at their best case and worst case because I feel like one guy's gonna like him and one guy's not gonna like him. I need to learn these guys' names so I can refer to them as names.
Fun one there. To our comparisons, I think we have the same best case comparison here. Who is it?
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray was mine.
Wow. That's a really good best case scenario. You take that all day. If you can get a Jamal Murray at 28, you take it. But it's just, can he beat Jamal Murray?
It's just so funny. Like, it just immediately puts Jamal on both of their screens, despite the doubt from half the party here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess best case is best case, and you can think he won't reach his best case, but I want to hear the explanation a little bit.
Mine too. You can give the analysis on why.
I don't view Jamal Murray as a point guard necessarily. I think he's playing point in a Nikola Jokic system. I think he's a phenomenal shooter. I think Jamal Murray does the thing where he does it to a whole nother extent because he takes 82 games off and the first 3 quarters of some games. But Jamal Murray is phenomenal in the fourth. He's phenomenal in crunch time. We saw it. We just saw it against the Thunder where it's like push came to shove, put the ball in Jamal Murray's hands when for a year we said, does this guy still have it? And he said, by the way, I do. And Walter Clayton's kind of that same realm where it's like for 25 minutes, it's like.
Okay, let's check a worst case because I think this is going to be pretty funny.
And if he does, it could end up being very Jamal Murray-esque in the long term for me. Worst case player comparison, I'm excited to hear who you have for this.
I kind of went the similar route you went with Shabazz Napier, but I took a guy that Steph Curry and Draymond Green chose to beg for, and he stunk. Jacob Evans. They begged for them to take Jacob Evans. Jacob Evans coming out of college did a lot of
Mario Chalmers and Jacob Evans. Listen, if his worst, that was Mario Chalmers on the screen, right? He said Shabazz Napier, but that's clearly Mario Chalmers. Listen, man, this is what I'll say. If you can draft Mario Chalmers at pick 28, draft Mario Chalmers at pick 28. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mario Chalmers was not a bad NBA player by any means.
Yep.
Don't draft Jacob Evans.
I think if you're the Celtics and you have Walter Clayton in for a pre-draft workout, you just ask him, like, do you think you're more Mario Chalmers or Jacob Evans? What do you think?
You know what's funny? Did you ever have those like 2K guys? You were like, oh, this random guy ended up being really good for me. That was Jacob Evans. I like Jacob Evans.
Really?
Like third team for me. He was like this nasty wing. For context, Jacob Evans spent, let's see, he spent 2 seasons in the NBA, one with the Warriors, and the Wolves split. His career shooting percentages were 33.7 from the field, 31.5 from 3. He was a Cincinnati guy in college. In his final season of college hoops, shot 43 from the field, 37 from deep. He was 6'6", so he was a larger wing rather than Walter Clayton, who was a guard, but there's context there. Let's do the tier list, Sam. Let's see where we want to put Walter Clayton in our tier list. And again, we can move stuff around. We don't have to keep our tier list and die by it. We can make our choices and move them. But I have Walter Clayton here. And so my question to you is, off rip, where do you put him? I have my thoughts, and we can go from there. But where would you put Walter Clayton?
I think I would put him in between A and B. And the reason why I don't necessarily put him right on A is because think about Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf feels like if you're lucky enough that he falls to you, you pick him. Mm-hmm. Walter Clayton feels like it's a foregone conclusion that he'll probably be there. Or at least he'll go like a pick or two before Boston. Like
I've seen some mocks where he's like early 20s versus, but I've also seen where he's like mid-second round. So yeah.
His range seems like a lot wider. The consensus on Wolf is that he's going to go higher and might not even be a realistic guy for us to talk about. So I would say B. I think it's going to be a good pick if you get him. I think it'll make Summer League really fun to watch. I think there's potential for him to be a little bit of a microwave off the bench for a Celtics team that may need the guard depth next year. Mm-hmm. But there is also room for him to be a disappointment. We don't know yet.
I was going to say B. I think B is a good place for him. I think it's partially just because Danny Wolf is like you said, like he's kind of objectively a better prospect just because he is projected to go higher. But for a Celtics pick, like Walter Clayton is kind of what you're looking at more realistically, and Danny Wolf is kind of the stretch. But I'm happy with B for Walter Clayton. If we look at some other guys and we don't like them as much, I'm happy to move them into A if that's how it pans out. I'm just concerned about the defense and how the efficiency is going to translate to the NBA level. So we'll see how that happens, but appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let us know who else you want us to look at in this draft. We're going to have some guys we cut out because they went back to college. LeBaron Philon, I'm very sad. He was one of my favorite prospects, and now we won't get to look at him this year, but maybe next year. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of Walter Clayton and who else you would like to see us preview as we prep for the draft. There's about a month, so we're going to try and do quite a few of these just to, not everyone is watching college basketball. We all got to prep for it. But new videos are on the channel every day, whether it is these or full pods, which drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and other videos are up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find us both on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there, so if you just want those, they will go right to your feed if you subscribe. Leave a 5-star review too. We would appreciate that very much, and tell your friends. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We've been getting a ton of emails lately, and we do appreciate all the interest and support in the off season because it helps us along. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Twitter's at Jack's Money NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.